king and queen leave the thrones and head for the exit of Westminster Abbey on the coronation Saturday, you'll see that everyone bows and curtsies to the king, and no one moves a limb, a muscle, when Camilla passes.
The royal family is being ready for the effect. As he confronts his own death, King Charles is reportedly startling the palace with revelations about Queen Camilla. Forget the fairy tale. This is a story of heartless ambition. Those close to the king claim that he has revealed evidence of Camilla's secret scheme to consolidate power, a betrayal that took him by surprise. The drama occurring behind closed doors is more dramatic than public controversies. It's also startling to find out what Camilla has been doing behind his back, the disclosure of disaster. It began in the calm, spotless corridors of a hospital. A revelation that would fundamentally upend the House of Windsor was sparked by King Charles's life-altering diagnosis. After comprehending his own mortality, the king allegedly came to the conclusion that he could no longer endure the weight of a secret that had been eating away at him. In the end, his legacy and the future of the throne his mother had defended for 70 years were all that mattered. Instead of his wife, he confided in his heir, Prince William. In what insiders describe as a candid and sad meeting, Charles allegedly disclosed everything. The subject of his confession was Queen Camilla. For years, Charles had disregarded the warning indicators. But what he found out later would make him regret it. The rumors, the shifting relationships, the covert dismissals of his most trusted staff. He had choked it up to Camilla being accustomed to being queen in an effort to lighten his burden. However, the reality he now saw was far more sinister. According to palace officials, the evidence came from an incorrectly filed folder that had several strategic notes and memoranda that were never meant for his eyes. In essence, it was a strategy for a secret takeover. The documents show that Camilla had a systematic plan in place to progressively transform the monarchy from the inside out. There was more to this than just placing a few friends in positions of authority. Establishing her own foundation of authority, completely independent of the monarch, was a carefully thought-out operation. Important roles in the royal household that had previously been held by loyal advisors who had worked for the monarch for decades were suddenly filled by Camilla's acquaintances. Suddenly, people he hardly knew were making decisions that had an impact on the entire corporation. Even her own children, Tom Parker BS and Laura Lopes, were being placed in more prominent public-facing posts, defying all modern royal procedure. The letter was uncannily accurate, and Charles recognized words and ideas from his own private conversations with his wife. She was accused of exploiting his confidence as a weapon and undermining his authority by utilizing his personal thoughts as a guide. The plan's outcome was even more shocking. There were other objectives besides securing her own standing. It has to do with influencing the future. In addition to manipulating media narratives, and most worrisome of all, subtly diminishing Prince William and Kate Middleton's popularity and influence, the documents hinted at intentions to seize control of significant royal organizations. Even after Charles's passing, she wanted the monarchy and her family's place within it to continue to be solid. It took time for this treachery to occur. It was the outcome of years of covert, clandestine labor. When Charles finally put everything together, he was distraught. He thought the woman who stood by him in the face of controversy and public contempt was preparing the greatest scandal of all, right in his own house. When he hurriedly confessed to William, it was more than a warning. It was a desperate attempt to protect the organization from the woman he had proclaimed queen. But how could a lady who was once hated by the public get so close to the center of power that she nearly carried out a secret coup? The architect of shadows. To understand how Queen Camilla is believed to have attained her position, you must return to a love tale that was never only a romance. It was a lesson in survival, strategy, and more recently, manipulation. Their relationship, which began in the early 1970s, was contentious from the start. Because it defied royal expectations, it ultimately led to the catastrophic failure of Charles and Princess Diana's marriage. Throughout those years, Camilla was portrayed as the antagonist, the other lady who had destroyed a fairy tale. She was often criticized by the people and seen to pose a threat to the monarchy's stability. But what appeared to be an exile was actually a time of rigorous study, according to royal analysts. Camilla mastered the long game. She learned to manage her image, work in the background, and bide her time until the perfect moment. Her final marriage to Charles in 2005 served as a masterclass in marketing. It wasn't an extravagant wedding from a fairy tale. Instead, it was a low-key, inexpensive civil ceremony tea. Hat took place at Windsor Guildhall. This was a deliberate choice taken to show respect and humility and to prevent a bad public response. Queen Elizabeth II's noticeable absence from the ceremony itself sent a powerful message. This union was being endured rather than praised. However, Camilla then began to rise carefully and steadily. She used her new role as Duchess of Cornwall to advocate for safe, uncontroversial causes. She was amiable, supportive, and frequently smiled, giving off a sense of security and warmth. The media and the general public began to soften. Instead of being the scandalous mistress, she was now the king's devoted friend. Behind the scenes, though, was another game. Sources claim that she was quietly growing her network, establishing alliances, and learning about the intricate dynamics of royal power. She never made loud or dramatic movements. Instead, she used whispers, subtle clues, and the careful positioning of loyalists to expand her dominance. Ultimately, her greatest value was Charles's unwavering love and trust. She was his confidant, his rock, and the only person who understood the pressures of his job. He gave her unprecedented access and authority, not realizing that it could be used to establish a shadow court dedicated exclusively to her. Because of how much she had changed, by the time she was crowned queen, few people questioned her authority. But it was thought that she was now using the skills she acquired while avoiding a controversy to orchestrate one. Furthermore, it is stated that her clandestine effort intensified as the king's health declined, which immediately led to the catastrophic revelation and forced the other royals to act. The royal family strikes back. After hearing his father's tragic tale, Prince William reportedly responded violently and swiftly. For William, this was more than just palace politics. It was personal. According to an insider, he said, "She nearly destroyed everything my mother stood for." In addition to his father's betrayal, Princess Diana's legacy, which he and Kate had worked so hard to preserve by modernizing the monarchy and cultivating a relationship with the people, was the source of his rage. He saw Camilla's alleged attempt to take over as a direct assault on that legacy and a threat to the crown's survival. Kate Middleton, who is known for her elegance, was reportedly deeply saddened but not completely taken aback. She had been feeling a little chill for months as her projects ran into mysterious roadblocks and her role was gradually reduced. Kate and William presented a united front, but they weren't by themselves. It is said that Princess Anne was the one who struck the hammer. Anne was renowned for her rigid adherence to the institution and no-nonsense attitude, and her judgment was cold and uncompromising. After seeing the evidence, she allegedly wrote Charles a direct message saying, "You made this possible. Either I will fix it or I won't." Then, in silence, Camilla's shadow empire fell. The show was not intended for a broad audience. You must believe in it. The palace is adept at handling its problems behind closed doors. The disassembly was precise and meticulous. Camilla's most significant family allies were silently dismissed or demoted to lesser roles one by one. Her formerly crowded agenda of key meetings and solo engagements suddenly became empty. The funds and support for her pet projects were allegedly misappropriated. She was being deliberately isolated, and her network of power was being severed at its core. It was an obvious message. You are the queen just in name. She had been imprisoned in a golden cage, losing all real authority but keeping her title and appearance. This was clearly a royal banishment. A move meant to eliminate the threat without creating a public constitutional crisis. The family had closed ranks in order to protect the institution above everything else. This swift, decisive action ended her secret rule and placed her in a scenario she probably never would have imagined. A defenseless queen watching from the background, a queen just by name. After the royal strikeback, a new order has subtly taken root at the palace. It seems like nothing has changed. Queen Camilla still stands behind King Charles at ceremonial events. Her picture is still on display in the hallways, and she still has the title of queen. But in reality, these are only remnants of a force that has disappeared. She has lost all of her power and is now a ghost behind the scenes. William, Kate, and Anne were among the senior royals who concurred that taking away her title in public would cause such an unimaginable scandal that the monarchy would not last. The solution was far more subtle and more severe in many ways. She kept the crown, but they took the kingdom. This is not just a metaphor. It's the cold, hard reality of Queen Camilla's new existence. A tactical takedown that was frighteningly accurate. In reality, her golden cage is lined with some daily humiliations. These days, it is embarrassing to see the familiar red boxes holding crucial official paperwork. Insiders claim that while a carefully redacted summary is created for her, King Charles, and crucially, Prince William received the entire unfiltered intelligence. It's a very clear message. Now she's not in the loop. Her most ambitious project, which was to bring together literacy charities under her own powerful umbrella, was secretly dismantled, and its finances moved to initiatives that the Princess of Wales is currently spearheading. Her carefully chosen Queen's friends, who were once thought to be her loyal inner circle, have lost their wings. They can now directly approach the monarch through William's private office, negating their impact. This deliberate seclusion is clearly related to her purported power grab, which included a transparent attempt to have her own children, Tom Parker Bowles and Laura Lopes, granted formal royal patronages, a move that allegedly upset Prince William. It was the final straw in a long list of excesses. Prince William and Kate Middleton are not only stepping in to fill the hole, but they are also skillfully taking charge of the royal story. Their recent triumphant tour of Commonwealth nations was deliberately designed to counteract Camilla's diminished local appearances. Kate is now delivering more solo keynote speeches on significant policy as a respectable queen consort, exactly the role Camilla had envisioned for her. They are not merely the future. The faith that was so dangerously threatened is being meticulously restored by them, the active present force. It is Princess Anne's responsibility to maintain this new world order. Sources claim that she presided over a contentious family meeting at Windsor, where the new, incredibly strict rules for Camilla's role were laid out in detail. Additionally, the ultimate institutionalist ensured that the penalty could not be altered. There has never been a dispute like this one in the House of Windsor. The abdication of Edward VII was a spectacular public outcry over love versus duty. The 1990s, annus horribilis scandals were a chaotic public breakdown of personal lives. Contaminants from the outside world even infiltrated Prince Andrew's humiliation. Those were flames that needed to be extinguished in the public light. However, such is not the case here. This was not a sign of weakness or ardor. It is said that the coup was executed from within the throne room. There was no danger from a broken marriage or an outlaw prince. The king owned the queen. The crown's very controlled structure was the target of this cunning, clandestine power maneuver. As a result, the response was clinical and quiet. The monarchy has survived public disputes, but it handled this inside threat with cool, collected precision, proving that the most dangerous enemy is the one you let get close to the throne. The machine has recalibrated, and she is now a powerless ghost inside. The monarchy has weathered the tempest, but the palace has undergone irreversible change. Although Camilla continues to wear the crown, she is no longer in command. What do you think? Is a silent banishment an appropriate penalty, or should the monarch have made everything public? Let us know in the comments.